Okay. You're going to get some new area of triangle formulas today. So the one that you guys already know is what? What is it?
1/2 base times height.
Right, so area equals 1/2 base times height. All right, you can also use some trigonometry in order to get these by using, this is a new formula for you. So it's not that different, but a little bit different. So it's still got the 1/2 in there, but it's 1/2 a times b, which b is still base in this case. But this way you don't need to figure out the height, which essentially you are finding this, right? Because if sine of c, all right, so if I'm looking at this triangle here, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, right? So this would be h over a, and then the a's will cancel, so you get 1/2 base times height. All right, so it's just kind of a new way to think about it, where if you don't have that height, you can still use trig to find it as long as you have this information available to you, which means that you're going to need an angle. All right, so if we come down here and we try to do this one, if you have the information that you need to use just 1/2 base times height, go to town. All right, but my guess is that you're not going to have the height very often. All right. For example, like this one, you're not going to have that happen. So if I let this be my C so that this can be my 30-degree angle, right, that means that this one would be little c. Right, so it means I'm going to have to let this one be big A so that this can be 8, and then this one will be big B so that this one can be 6. All right, well, if I plug it into that formula up there, area is going to equal 1/2 A, 8, times B, 6, times sine of C, which is 30. Now 30 degrees, that's one that you guys are good at. What would the sine of that be anyway? 1/2. All right, so I get area equals 1/2 times 8 times 6 times another 1/2. These are over 1. So in the top, I'm going to get 48. In the bottom, I'm going to get 2 times 1 times 1 times 2. It's 4. So you get 12. All right, pretty easy. Got that one? All right, now the one that I always thought was kind of weird, but interesting, is Heron's formula. And this one, so this way you don't need any angles and you don't need a height. You will be able to, and it doesn't matter what kind of triangle it is, you can find the area of a triangle as long as you know all 3 sides. Now the reason I kind of like this one is because this one's pretty applicable all the time. Because if you needed to figure out the area of some space and you just had some random triangle, it's easy enough to always just kind of measure around the sides. If you have that, then you can figure this one out. All right, so the formula, even though it's kind of ugly at first, it's really not that bad if you wanted to memorize it. Because you have the big square root, and then you just have all these s's. So you have an s minus one side, an s minus the other second side, and an s minus the third side, all times an s. But here's the weird part. S represents 1/2 of a plus b plus c. What's that? 1/2 the what? The perimeter. All right, so S is actually 1/2 of all the way around the triangle, and that's what gets plugged in for these. All right, so if I have a triangle, and sides are 4, 5, and 7. Okay, so we can figure out the area of that given no other information, as long as I have this. So the perimeter is what in this case?
16.
And then, so S is going to be 8. All right, so the area is going to be big square root of 8 times 8 minus one of my sides times 8 minus another one of my sides times 8 minus the last side that I haven't used yet. Okay, and we just worked that out. So a big square root of 8 times 4 times 3 times 1. So that's 12 times 8, 96. Square root of 96. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a complete guess.
Oh, good guess. Good estimation skills, sir. All right, 9.8, and then they didn't give me any units on this one, so squared units because it's area. Okay, so 2 new formulas and pretty useful. All right, so here's the dimensions of a home plate at a baseball stadium, and I want to know the area of home plate.
Well, that's easy.
Okay, so what do you want me to do first?
Draw a line to finish a rectangle on a triangle.
Okay.
And then get the area of the rectangle, which is 8.5 times 17.
Okay, so that's the easy one. Okay, so that's the area of the rectangle.
And then you're going to do 12 plus 12.
Okay. So 12 plus 12 is 24 plus another 17, 41. So S is going to equal 41 over 2 because it's half of that. So 20.5. All right. So the area is going to be equal big square root of 20.5 times
Times 20.5 times 12 times 20.5 times 12 times 20.
whatever that comes out to be. All right. So 20.5 minus 17 is 3.5.
8.5.
8.5. And then another 8.5. And then I still have this 20.5 out here. And I have to take the square root of all of that. So 8.5 times 8.5 times 3.5 times 20.5. So this is the square root of 5,183.94. No.
No.
Actually, it's 71.9996.
So
72. And this one was inches, so inches squared. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the whole thing, 144.5 plus 72, 216.5 square inches. Okay, pretty easy. All right, good stuff. Homework. That's the last new stuff that you guys will have before the quiz on Monday.
Not just that.